Hey guys, Cam315 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another My Hero Academia manga chapter review for you guys as we're continuing on with this final arc, this final battle, things like that. We got the cliffhanger with the Shiketsu High School student showing up, and we continue on with that. So this is My Hero Academia chapter 381, titled Dark. Now, obviously the chapter starts off with the Shiketsu High students, all their intros, obviously Kami, Uchima, Seiji, Shirakuwa, Inasa, Yorashi, things like that. So yeah, they pretty much go on to say like, oh, yeah, this is all for one and things like that. Kami's shocked that he has a face. We find out that Seiji, he wants to get revenge on All For One for killing his father. Because if you remember, back when this whole issue with All For One getting out again, relied back to Tartaros, we did see a guard that looks similar to Seiji, and a lot of people speculated that, oh, that was that guy's father. Well, yep, it's confirmed. That was Seiji's father, and I guess it makes sense why he wanted to show up in the battle for that All For One's at, because, well, he killed his own father. So, yes, and things like that. So, yeah, and then Inasa says, nope, can't give in to spite and hatred. That be giving the big bad guy what he wants. Now, Seiji goes on to say, indeed, as a prison guard my dad set out to protect, I shall take up his mantle. So yeah. Now everybody, the heroes are getting an update about Deku and Shigaraki fighting outside the UA barrier cage and things like that. So practically, this makes the situation that they're in like must win. If they lose and they let All For One get away, well then it could be the end of Japan, maybe the world, as we know it. So they know what they got to do and everything. Now they go on to say, listen, before it's too late, we need to subdue Toga, while also we got to pepper All For One with these long-range attacks so we can't freaking take our quirks and things like that. So yeah, so we see how they're firing off these long-range quirk attacks at All For One because, well, if you get up close and personal, there's a chance that he steals your quirk and everything. So yeah. Now Tokoyami asks Hawks if he's still okay, and pretty much Tokoyami says actually they were on their way before we submitted the request. Anyhow, we heard how All For One has his old body back. So keeping him there at Gunga could decide this whole war. Stopping him, obviously, from getting away by any means. Now, we see how All For One is trying to, I guess you can try to say, in a way, he's trying to say, like, try to steal twice his quirk. But he can't really do that. Because he has to touch the true body of the said user. So we already know Twice is dead. So it doesn't matter if Toga is unleashing Twice's clones. She can't freaking All For One can't steal Twice's quirks, the clone's quirk, because, well, it's not the real deal. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. Now, You have this whole issue again with All For One, being so overconfident like he can get out of this situation because he's like, the one hero that could truly stop me probably was Endeavor, but that ain't happening. He's busy fighting Dabi. So then all of a sudden he grows these wings from, like, I guess the tendrils, whatever attacks he was doing. He typically did the rivet stab stuff, and he goes on to say, no more holding back then, tossing aside all precaution to bring me down. Very well. And he just unleashes this huge beam attack, and it just forces everybody back and everything. And people are like, this guy's starting to combine his quirks now on top of it. The heroes are gonna continue to say, those still on your feet, don't let up, stand up strong. Look, he's been stopped in place, keep those attacks up. Then All For One starts his monologuing, again, his cocky ass monologuing, because Jesus. This guy cannot freaking stop monologuing because he's an overconfident you-know-what. He goes on to say, so late in the game, you still think you somehow emerge from this, even without one man who can stand up to me. We do get a panel where we see Dabi, just zombified, possessed Dabi, chasing after Endeavor. So you have to wonder if we're going to cut over to that fight soon. But he goes on to say, All for One goes on to say, that's not bravery. You're just ignorant of my golden age. As the generation from a young age witnessed All Might rise, and the next that only knew a world where he reigned supreme. Practically, he's saying, you guys do not understand the depths of power I have, and you don't truly understand what Japan was like all these years ago, man. When I was pretty much in my prime and everything. You know, you don't understand. He's pretty much telling, especially all the young students, he doesn't understand. Like, you guys are far too young to understand the past. Then we see this wind current, this wind stream come up, and then it's in Asa saying, "Nah, we know about that stuff. I mean, never heard of you. Now, I mean, I never heard of you, but they teach us that stuff in history class and things like that." And he goes on to say, "And me, I decided to keep watching my pal Todoroki and his dad to root for them. That hot-blooded passion is gonna beat out fear to win the day." Now, the wind is doing like crazy, going crazy, and we find out that like, oh, the reason why Inasa's his wind power, his wind quirk is working a lot more. It's because, well, it was already a stormy day to begin with. Now, All for One has the idea to try to steal his quirk, steal his quirks, but Inasa is like, I'm not gonna let you do that. He ends up getting hit by the rivet stab quirk, but listen, he goes on to say, you know, he pretty much goes on to say, like, forget you and your ancient glory days. What I want to see is a future built by the guys I'm cheering on. And, you know, he's continuing on and not giving in. So Hawks goes on to say, endeavor. You know, it's not just one for all. You've done your job. You've done your job. Paying it forward too. I can't stand that look in their eyes. Looking past me, having lost none of that light. Well, no. The light has gone out. Yes, yet they stroke the flames, like heaping kindling onto fire. And so, obviously, we have it to where Hawks, he's charging in. That was All for One monologue I was just reading. And All for One just pretty much screams out, you dare not approach for fear of losing your quirks to me. Enough nonsense. Come and meet your fate. Then all of a sudden, we get this panel, this full panel, where All for One is shocked. He's like, and then you just have it, where these eyes come out of nowhere, and then we see it's Tokoyami with Dark Shadow, and All for One, he gives that look where he's like, eyes all wide up, he's shocked and everything, and things like that. Now, Tokoyami goes on to say, even darkness comes in a range of shades, so you don't get to speak on the dark. That muddied dismay darkness you brought about, we've already devoured it whole. And he's talking about the fact when, you know, they got Deku to come back to one UA and said, listen, we dealt with darkness before. Me and my classmates have dealt with this darkness before, but we have overcome that darkness. And guess what? We're going to devour that darkness. And we see how, what is it? We just get this giant, like, Dark Shadow. And he's so freaking giant. He looks like he's about to engulf All for One. Now, Tokoyami goes on to say the reason why he got that big is those sudden storm clouds that shrouded all of us from light of day, extended the time limit on my power. As for the flames, they shrunk on the winds. They shrunk because the wind and everything was picking up. And then, too, we find out that what is it? Tokoyami told Pixie Bob to endeavor to envelop Dark Shadow in the dirt, so that Dark Shadow can get bigger. Now, Tokoyami goes on to say, All Might told me that you cannot steal Endeavor's quirk simply by grasping his flames. This is why I was chosen to support Hawks and Endeavor. This move is called Dark Shadow Total Release, and practically all the heroes, they're yelling out to Tokoyami to stop All for One, take him down, you know, you have Inoasa use some extra wind power to give him a boost, and things like that. Tokoyami continues to go on to say, if I was able to pay it forward to you even a little, then dirtying these wings was well worth it. All for One gets hit by the dark shadow, and the move's called Dark Shadow Total Release, Abyssal Black Body, Light of Baldur. So yes, and then the chapter ends off with Dark Shadow looking like he's completely enveloped Tokoyami and has so far. I don't think he's taken down, but he could potentially be taken down. But that's where the chapter ends off. It was a great chapter. Like, holy crap, man! Just to see Tokoyami have another big moment is just great. Tokoyami is one of my favorite characters. Again, this could be the whole thing of All for One, failing to, I guess you can say, underestimating his opponents. Just really, truly underestimating his opponents. Now, I think All for One will find a way to get out of this situation. I think he's still there, but the heroes just got to hold him off till he completely rewinds, so then he's rewinded out of existence and he can't do anything. But we'll see. Anyways, that's it. So if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of manga chapter of My Hero Academia, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more My Hero Academia content or any other anime content I upload to the channel. So then guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. I'm now watching this video. Peace.